Well, Mr. Hayek, you wrote a very famous essay on the intellectuals and socialism, in which you attempted, I think quite successfully, to show why socialism is so nubile for the intellectuals. What is that thesis of yours, and do you still defend it?
Certainly, yes. Well, it's a very interesting story intellectually. One of the dominant ideas which governs thinking since the 18th century is the idea that we can make everything to our pleasure, that we can design social institutions in their working. Now, that is basically mistaken. Social institutions do much more than we know. They have grown up by a process of selection of the successful without people frequently know why it was successful. That applies to the market. The market is I was going to say most ingenious, but ingenious without having been designed, instrument which enables us to utilize knowledge which is distributed among hundreds of thousands of people. It's an adaptation to thousands of circumstances which nobody ever can know as a whole, and where the prices formed on the market tell the individual what to do and what not to do in the social interest. Now, in order to understand this, you have to know economics. To the naive person who imagines all the distribution of income is determined by somebody deliberately and actively, it seems that if this is the responsibility of a particular guy, this is evidently done very unjustly. The fact is, it's not being done unjustly because we achieve all that we do achieve by having come to agree to play a sort of game in which the game of the market, as I likely to call it, in which, because we are utilizing more information, more facts than anybody knows, the outcome for a particular individual is necessarily unpredictable. Now, an outcome which is unpredictable and undesigned by anybody cannot be just. Just as little as the outcome of a game of chance can be a just game. But people resent this. And the people who imagine, oh, it should be possible to design all this, to arrange this, accept the government to do this in a manner that the distribution is just. Now, that is literally impossible, because it would require that all this widely dispersed information about particular facts and particular circumstances and particular gifts can be used and controlled by a central authority.
So, yeah, that when you think about something like that, I mean, essentially, the root of what he's getting at is that you cannot, maybe should not, but you can. It's not going to go well. Design a system for everybody to thrive. It is, we'll talk about this one of these days, but in the line of work, I've worked for government. I've worked in the private sector. When you look at government, it is just by design extremely inefficient. What it has to input into the system in order to get the results, massive amount, right? And those inefficiencies are obviously, distributed throughout. I guess you could say, well, it's going to people. People are getting paid, but being paid to be inefficient is not a good thing, no matter how you cut it. And so, if you already know this, if you know that the capability of a government is very limited, I mean, you look at your own household. When you are dealing with children, family, friends, your ability to, facilitate, help all these things, or design a plan, a household plan that suits everybody, is difficult in and of itself in a household. I mean, you know, then expand that to a city block, or expand that to a town, or expand that to a city, expand that to a country. It's just an inconceivable thing to imagine that that could work or should work, right? Because everybody is kind of doing their own thing. How can you make a system where everybody doing their own thing ends up fitting into these guidelines that help structure and create a society? And that's why non-crony capitalism, pure, laissez-faire free markets, right? Because everyone's doing their own thing. That's the idea. Everyone is doing their own thing. And in doing their own thing, some will benefit higher than others. That's in any game, as he was stating. In any game, there's going to be some people that win, some people that lose, but everybody has a shot, right? And, you know, if it's not a zero-sum game, the loser doesn't get zero, you know? The loser just doesn't get as much as the winner. If you're looking at it, it's like a point-based thing. At least that's how I view it. But again, this was an introduction to Hayek. You know, he's a beast in this. You get past the accent and stuff like that. We'll take a look at some more of his videos. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thanks a lot for coming out. We'll see you again very, very soon.